Kudash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayath, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts. Yah, He, Va, He, masculine, feminine, as a collective whole, creating a tetragrammaton. Today, I'm back in effect, man. I'm studying hard. I'm putting my mind where it needs to be. But I'm going to just get right into it. You be the judge. You put two and two together. And this is just the beginning. This study is based upon the Holy Tablet, the original writings where the Bible and the Quran were translated from. But the original story, it has a lot more meat and bones to give you a better understanding on what's happening now. And this is just the first of many lessons on this topic, because I'm going to go through the whole book chapter by chapter, from the creation story to all the events that transpire and all the events that are still to transpire, but how they correlate with what people see prophecy as today, but in a more in-depth meaning. But just so you know that it's really happening. You know, this is not a joke no more. It's really happening. We in that time zone, and everything is starting to make all the sense. It's been making sense, but this is just another confirmation. So I'm gonna start off first by reading origins of the Holy Tablet, where they come from, and so on and so on. The Holy Tablets come from the ancient original tablets inscribed in cuneiform, later borrowed and in part to form what became the Torah. You know, the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible, which are also called the 5 books of Moses, but also the Quran is based off that same Torah. So back to this. It says the original tablets inscribed in cuneiform, later borrowed in part to form what became the Torah, which became the Holy Bible, which yielded many scriptures, Old as well as the New Testament, and even later the Holy Quran or Quran. All right, the source. The source brings into being a supreme being referred to as Zod Qua, or one of the Anunnaki Elohim. Now, the word Elohim, what we know in the Bible as Elohim, and endows this being and Ilah Mutajasid, an avatar, with the right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding. The Holy Tablet, also called the Book of Lamps, Quran, which was revealed in the year 1610 AD. You know, AD means after death. Basically, BC means before Christ. Christ meaning the Messiah, HaMashiach, you know, the anointed one. And AD is, they date things based off of that. AD means after death, after his death. So Quran, which was revealed in the year 610 AD, over 1400 years ago, called it author Mustafa Muhammad, who died in the year 632 AD from food poison. Now, what we're going into is called the 7 thunders of the Holy Tablets. The 7 thunders, the 7 plagues. The Nuwapians have logged these thunders as a sign of the coming of a new planet. New planet is called Nibiru. Some people call this planet planet number 9. You know, some people know of this, bits and pieces of this information. Some people don't. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Everything correlates from that. The coming in of a new era. the sign of the end of the present world rule by evil, and the resurrection of the ancient mysteries of Egypt. Egypt is translated from the Greek word Egyptos, which the original name for Egypt was Mitzrayim, which was one of the sons of Ham, which is one of the three of Noah's sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And that goes, you can find a lot of that in Genesis, which is also from these holy tablets. They tell you it's called the generations of Isis, and it's more to it than that. And in the Hebrew word, it's called Bereshith, the beginning. But the beginning, everything has a beginning, everything has a end. Just like it says in the book of Revelation, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning, the end, the first and the last. And in the Hebrew, it's called Aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is 1, and Tav, which would be Omega, which is 22, the last, 1 through 22. Coincidentally, we're in the year 2022. But everybody knows about the 7-year tribulation period and how that transpired. And those that's woke know about the signs and the wonders, and that follow history, follow the signs of the times, and have their third eye open, which is Kether, on the 10 Sephiroths in Hebrew of the Godhead of the body, also known as the crown, also known as the third eye, which means the rise of the Kundalini energy from the low state to the higher state of consciousness, where your awareness kicks in. Your junk DNA is being removed. You are becoming back in tune and in touch with nature, and you basically receiving light through your pineal gland. The knowledge is coming in, that third eye is open. So, meaning the things that's hidden to everybody else and they're oblivious to, that's all around them, it's right in front of their face, you see it, because it's not like a physical eye, it's a sensual eye. It's basically your spidey senses is tingling, that extra sense, that extra information is coming in, through the energy around you, the time frame you're in, and that light, based upon you being woke. Or when I say woke, means you being alert, or you can be on a low vibrational state. But meaning the Kundalini rising, that is your rapture. You ascend from your lower self to your higher self. And I've said this over and over in many other videos, sometimes you gotta take a break and you have to really sit back, reevaluate everything, start looking into other things, start connecting the dots. You got to find the consistencies and patterns and everything, and you got to make it make sense. This stuff that these people is giving us nowadays, or people's breakdown of what's what and what's what, that's watered down. The Bible and a lot of these other holy books are written in figurative language, allegories, and metaphors. But they were written in that way because when they were taken from other texts, they were taken from their original form, because they didn't want to put it out there so openly, because it also talks about a deceiver. And how we grew up, or what we learned a deceiver was, it all makes sense in the end, put it that way, because that's going to go into a whole nother topic. But back to this, Nibiru, the coming in of a new era. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that at the beginning. The 7 thunders, because it's the topic that we're going at. The 7 thunders, the 7 plagues. And you know how it talks about in Revelation, 7 churches, 7 angels, 7 seals, and it's basically talking about these judgments, But listen, this is basically going into the same thing. And, you got the apocalypse of Abraham, we talked about the 10 plagues, that will come upon, throughout the course of our genealogy, which we're going through different cycles and stages, and we're at that final stage, believe it or not, But a lot of people, they don't like to hear that, because they think, oh, it's the end, it's going to be this and that, I'm going to die, and this and that. It ain't like you think, everything's going to reset. It's basically when you evolve, just like they said that some dinosaurs, birds evolved into dinosaurs, or cave people evolved into this. This happens, and then you see, like in Egyptian times, the Babylonian times, in Atlantis times, they had this high tech knowledge, and they could do these mystical things, which some people consider magic. But all it is natural magneticism and mastering the elements of nature, understanding how everything is set up. It deals with a lot of numbers, it deals with a lot of cycles. Everything is built off a number and a cycle. And the Holy Tablets, it gets into that, but breaks it down in a way that you never heard it before, The seven thunders, the seven plagues, the Nuwapians have logged these thunders as a sign of the coming of a new planet, Nibiru, also known as Planet 9, the coming of a new era, signs of the end of the world, the present world ruled by evil, and the resurrection of the ancient mysteries of Egypt. I just broke that down about Mitzrayim and the bloodline son of Ham, of that landmass. Atlantis, rising again in the heart of Georgia in a place called Wa-Ni. Okay? All right. Now we're going to get into the seven thunders. Remember what I said about the seven churches in Revelation, those seven angels, the seven vials of indignation, and these judgments that are going to be rendered, and it correlates with 10 plagues of the apocalypse of Abraham as well. So now let's get into this. The first thunder, much starvation, sickness, starving children, homelessness, and disease. This already passed and continues. Look what's happening now. From 2017, signs in the sky, total eclipses, the Revelation 12 constellation that actually took place. And then in the 10th month of 2017, mysterious space rock Oumuamua just pops up in the atmosphere. Bang! Now, jump from there. 2019, the H.R. 40 bill was passed of African Americans being in America 400 years. Other people that don't know this information be like, oh, what that got to do with anything? Timelines, years, cycles. Genesis 15. Because why is 2019 important? Now you got to go back to 1619 project. What was that? Look it up. Do the research. Put two and two together. But most people that's up to date with this, they know exactly what I'm talking about, what I'm going through. 400 years, Genesis 15, and then certain things. Now 2019. Remember the signs and wonders? Remember it said in Matthew 24, how will you know the signs of thy second coming? And then tell you about these signs in the sky, which is forbidden in a lot of religions because they tell you it's witchcraft. But remember what I just told you about natural magneticism and mastering the elements in nature, understanding numbers and their cycles. But the first thunder, much starvation, sickness, starving of children, homelessness, and disease, the already passing and continue. But now jump back to 2020, you get your plague, sickness, mass controversy, get your little jab, you be saved, worship the creature more than the creator. And that's all I'm going to say, because you believe in your creature, not the creator, because, you don't think he exists anymore. And then that's your sickness, your disease, and it says much starvation, That's been happening, but guess what? It's going to go on a mass scale now because of global sanctions, government talking about the burning of crops, them raiding an Amish farm in Pennsylvania where they supplied over 4,000 people, and so on and so on. And it gets deep. Now, the second thunder, and that correlates with the 10 plagues of the apocalypse of Abraham. The first one was sickness and health. Second, fiery congregation of cities. But listen to this. Second thunder, the sky becomes sick with holes in it that look like sores. Lung disease spreads. Breathing problems occur. Green mist coming from holes polluting water, growing deformities, bacteria in the water, little devils. Sea animals begin to die. Fishes are trying to get out of the water. Water becomes death to them. Physical and spiritual illness, mutations in animals. The third thunder, many new species, notations, mutations in animals, crossbreeding in species, death of frogs, honeybees, turtles, deformed human, multiply, genetics, splicing, and cloning. You see, we see all these videos floating around the internet, YouTube, and other stuff. Oh, this person being cloned. But guess what? Even with the chickens, the food, KFC, they clone chickens. They cloning everything. They trying to make robots. They trying to do everything. But this tells you in depth exactly what they're doing. So you know you're going to see it. They even brag about it on the news and TV. We got new technology. We got this. Making movies about it, everything. But guess what? It's happening. This how you know. This is a sign. And you see how in Book of Revelation, every time an angel opened the seal, it was like a woe. Woe means destruction. So that means every time these actions are taken, it's a cause and effect. These cause and effect means karma. Karma, the universe, the galactic law, which you know in your Torah as the law, statutes, and commandment, because it's cause and effect. You treat your neighbor, it's cause and effect. How you treat people and the good karma that will come upon you. You know, certain things you do, certain things you shouldn't eat. There's a dietary law, there's appearance law, there's an actual physical law of how you treat people, you know, cause and effect. If you kill people, if you lay with your same sex, if you it gets deep. That's why all the stuff you're seeing today, it makes sense. That's why in Revelation talk about Babylon must fall. He said spiritual Sodom in Egypt. He gave you all these descriptions of what this place would be like. Spiritual Sodom means you know what happened in Sodom and you know what happened in Egypt. Egypt means the house of bondage. So it means that people were in a bondage in this place, this new mystery Babylon at some point. And you know, in Sodom, they run their society somewhere like Sodom. You know, and he tells you Babylon must fall, the whore that sitteth upon many waters. Who has a base on everybody's land? Who's trying to control the narrative? Who's rape, robbing, kill, stealing, and destroying, manipulating and deceiving on the highest levels? Who has the world's strongest currency? You know, who's in bed? Said every nation got drunk off her wine, meaning got drunk off of her substance, her wealth. You know, that she got off people that were in bondage. Listen to these. I never seen it in this perspective before, but it's always been in our face. But the more we get to that point of that end point, it's going to come out. And at the end of these, seven thunders is also going to tell you about that too. Number 4, it said fourth thunder, signs of twins. When you know constellations in the sky, these twins, they talk about Gemini. But everything has a dual meaning, you know, an esoteric and an exoteric. So it says signs of the twins, Yah and Wei. One guards the South Pole and the other guards the North Pole. What we know about poles from the CMEs coming off the sun, coincidentally called coronal mass ejection, because the corona of the sun and this plasma energy, which is plasma in your DNA, you know, at this specific time, just coincidentally being in this 7-year cycle period that I'm timing from 2017 to 24, you know, and it never means the end of the world, it just means events. Because it tells you all these clusters of events will happen in this period, which will lead to what happens after that period, you know. And it's funny because this thing has a date on it that correlates with this too. So, watch this. It says the fourth thunder, signs of the twins, Yah and Wei. One guards the South Pole and the other guards the North Pole. El Labak begins with these poles. I honestly tell you, I don't know what a Labak means, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the cycles in the universe, the sun, and the formation of energy, and when things come back around and do what they once did before to replenish this planet. begin with these poles. Structures break down. Religion, morals, and financial. Ooh. Mystery Babylon is about $30 trillion in debt. The system, they know the system is about to collapse. There's nothing they can do about it. They're printing money out of thin air. They don't have the nothing that backs it. It's not backed by gold or silver, it's just backed off credit, And this credit is dying because war is about to breaking out with another superpower that's just as dominant as Mystery Babylon. And you know how the Most High works. He always uses one nation to overthrow another. And remember, it talked about many got drunk off her wine and her substance and so on, and these events unfolded. So we already know how it's going to go. It's nothing new under the sun, like King Solomon said. And everything, history repeats itself, so you wait for the past, People are put to sleep at certain times, and then God's is woken back up at certain times, and he tell you in that time, it'll be like 144,000 of them. And they'll all be in different places, but they're going to put the pieces of the puzzle together somehow, some way, and it's, what it is. But, and we all don't come with the same approach, but we graft your attention somehow, some way. Starts off small, and then the numbers grow, and it's just going to keep coming. It's not going to stop because it's that time, This is a divine intervention right now. It's literally, it has to come, and it's coming, There's nothing they can do to stop it, because the key with this is just like COINTELPRO, where they try to get a lot of different people and groups out the way. What they do is they shame them, demonize them. You basically it's called perverting. You take something out of context from its original form or what it is, and then you pervert it into something that what it's not. And you basically program people to believe that, people are serving the greater good of humanity and doing wicked things that are justifiable, but they have their time and place to do that. And now that time is over, and it's basically everything is about to change, believe it or not. And it says religion, moral, and financial. The devil's wins. El Nino takes over. El Nino takes over. I still got to look up what that means. But it was so deep and interesting and straight to the point, I had to just jump right into it. The fifth thunder. 4 great people will perish. Floods, lightning, storms, tornadoes, landslides, hurricanes, hell in the summer. Now, let's just stop right there for 1 second. We just seen tornadoes rip 2 places in the southern hemisphere of America back to back. We see floods all over the south and all over the place because poles are shifting. Remember what it said about North Pole, South Pole, pole shift? Nibiru, you probably like, oh, how does all this go together? Just listen, pay attention. It's all there. Remember, go back to some of the videos already. A lot of people, my videos is going to be like songs, You listen to them the first, have you a little conflicted, you know you just got a piece of gold or something, but you don't really know because I speak in a different kind of way, different kind of tongue and mindset. Because I juggle multiple things, and I don't always put them in a clear perspective, but I put them in a straight to the point, whatever I know to be fact, And a lot of them videos you're going to have to go back and watch because I broke it down with the CMEs and the sun. I did a double video on that on Facebook, and I did on YouTube. I talked about Matthew 24. I talked about the natural disasters, 3-source video I got on YouTube. It's so many things, and talks about these tornadoes. You've seen that. Look at the timeline we in. I'm not making this up. It's right here. That's why it's so deep. The hurricanes and hell. You see how these hurricanes keep coming back. These are not just category 3, 4 storms no more. They're going into category 5, and they're coming back to back, One before you would get one here there, but you see why these, what I was telling you before, all these events happening back to back. And it says hail in the summer. Remember, you seen the increase in hail and snow when you seen Virginia freezing up. Certain times it's supposed to be hot. That's what a pole shift means. It means places that's normally hot, it's going to be cold. Places that's normally cold, it's going to be hot. It means it's the reverse. And the same thing is going to happen with people. Just like I say in the Bible, those that some are going to be the head, and then some will be the tail. The first should be the last should be the first. That means everything always goes back to source in its original order as written. But, you see, it say all the same stuff in the Bible. It just say it in a way that got you speculating and debating about it and not breaking it down to the form, because when it was taken from its original form, it was written that way because it was going to be used to control the masses. And to tell you about the reptilian, hold on, let me tell you, tell you about the reptilian. It says, Halal, the reptilian, which is 666, which in Revelation is the beast, which would be a man, which in Hebrew, Zayin is the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, meaning Zayin. The beast is the Zionist, which they talk about in Revelation 2 and 9. It tells you about, he knows our work, tribulation, and poverty. We are rich. The blasphemy of them that will say they are Jews, but are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. And then it also talks about it in Daniel chapter 11 and 21, how they will orchestrate this thing from a beginning time throughout these stages of history to get to this point where they at now. It's nothing new under the sun, and it's all being exposed. So it says, killing of children, killing of their parents. You see these kids killing each other back to back. It says forest fires. You see the wildfires all over Mystery Babylon on the West Coast and everywhere else, right in your face. But now it's really happening. So that's all I'm going to say. I love it, though. It says killing of children, children killing their parents, rampant insanity and murders, an upsurge in drug addiction, and demonic revivals parading themselves as righteous. Demonic revivals parading themselves as righteous. Look at all these churches. Look at all these institutions. Look at all this dollar bill and government and God we trust. But watch what it say about the governments and all of them too. And the things that's happening. It says, in demonic revivals parading themselves as righteous. It says, El Nina, little girl, will come. Something about that. The sixth thunder. You see how these correlate with the book of Revelation and the woe and the angels and the opening and the cracking the seals? Because it's telling you about different periods in time. Everything goes to seven. It's like the 7-year tribulation. 7-year jubilee cycles. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. 42, and about Koach's prayer. 42 characters of the Hebrew, which make the 72 names of the Most High, Hashem. It gets deep when you expand your consciousness and you're just willing to learn more. Sixth thunder. It says, changes occur. The star people return. Who's these star people? This is where it gets interesting at. Signs in the skies. New planets, new galaxies, new meteorites, storms, climate alternation, global warming. Now listen to that. I'm going to hold that right there. Global warming, meteorites. You see, they just launched something about a couple weeks ago when they keep saying these near-Earth meteorite objects. In Revelation, they tell you about a third of stars being fallen to the Earth. And you see how it's talking about new galaxies. You see how the Pluto returned planet, new galaxies, and they keep talking about it. They send this James Webb telescope up there to monitor all this different stuff. You got the Space Force now. You got all this stuff. Why now and in this time? New skies, Pentagon unreleasing all this stuff about UFO, signs in the sky. New planets. Yeah, new planets keep popping up all of a sudden, and the star people return. The star people return, and the star people return. The star people return, signs in the skies, new planets, new galaxies, meteorite storms, climate alternations, global warming, spiritual revival. Now, it's telling you spiritual revivals because people are waking up. They're becoming woke. They're becoming alert. That's what a spiritual revival means. The presence of the divine. Disregard and respect for present form world governments, leadership and politics. Because if you're woke, now you can see it's a joke. They can't just tell you anything anymore because It's so many stuff. You see, everything is backfiring. The social media, the internet, everything that they created to keep track of everybody else, and supposedly under free will, you have the right to do whatever you please, as long as you follow this constitutional law and this and that and all these things that they can capitalize on. You notice that that's how all of these platforms is how all this information is getting out, and everybody is able to communicate at a faster rate and find information at a faster rate because the Most High already knew what he was going to do. He said, disregard for these governments, leadership, and politics. You've seen the January 6th riot. Why now in this time frame? That's what I'm getting at, this time frame. Now, we're going to get to the seventh thunder, and look how it correlates with the 7 angels, 7 churches, and 7. Everything revolves around 7 planets, and it tell you 7th thunder, the end of the world as you know it. And it has a little writing right here on this paper. It says the year 2030. Wow. Look at the time frame. If 2024 say that's the end of the tribulation period. 2024 is interesting because then you got the 24 elders. You got the 24 elders. And then if you turn the 24 around, you get 42. 42 and about Koach's prayer and correlates with the characters, make up the 72 named God. Back to 24, but when you do 24 3 times, you get 72. And when you put 72 and 72 together, just like it talked about in Revelation, 144,000 elect. And then it tells you about how there'll be 12,000 out of each of the 12 tribes that came from that original genealogy bloodline. And it tells you about the reverse to the poles. First being the last being the first. You get where I'm going with? I'm telling you, everything has a dual meaning and everything correlates. If you look at everything, you don't be biased with the information. You got to find the consistency and pattern in it. And it's like I said, the 7th thunder, the end of the world as you know it, the year 2030. Now, interesting, and through all of that too, I was reading something that talks about this. It says 9 ether produces 6 ether. 6 ether produces ghosts. 9 ether becomes 6 ether through time and age. 6 ether becomes ghost through time and age. 6 ether is 9 ether in death, and ghost is death of 6 ether. After the death of 6 ether, called the lunar cycle, the 9 ether comes back alive. So it's telling you something is about to happen in the consciousness of the creation. 9 is the completion of a cycle. 9 is very key. That's why I'm 999. Born 9th month, 19th day, 90th year at exactly 9 o'clock, And yes, I am special. I'm not gonna be, oh, I'm not special. I'm very special. I used to be kind of slow and crazy, so that kind of special to the point I manifested into something even specialer. But because when people think you crazy, tell you this, and that, it always starts when you're young. You could always tell when you're a chosen seed. You're gonna have a troubled upbringing. You're gonna be confused. You're not gonna fit in with everybody else. You're gonna say things that's gonna be outlandish. Some people might get them. Understand the deep meanings of it. Other people, they're going to clown you because they're going to be at the low state. And you're going to go through all of these different events. You're going to be in different phases of life. You might be in foster care. You might be in detention center. You might be abused. You might be a fighter in the street, but you're going to be saved all the way through the process of all of it. Somehow, some way, you're going to become so strong from your troubles. You're always going to be figuring like, what is this about? Because you're going to know something different with yourself. So you're going to start questioning yourself. You're going to start asking yourself stuff, and you're going to start looking for this information. So you're going to be gravitated to certain things, maybe aliens, it might be whatever it might be, but you're going to know. You're going to be connected to magic. You're going to, certain things that intrigue you. And a lot of times you might think they're bad, but once you really start expanding your consciousness, it'll make sense why you was attracted to all these things to begin with, and we could break the ethers down more and more, but, and it also tells you in these holy tablets, a lot of it, you could see the sequence. And if you know how to read Hebrew, and a little Aramaic, you'll know where a lot of these names are translated from, and these religions that a lot of people fighting over, because each one of them has a little piece of the puzzle. But you got to go on the bigger sources to find the truth. And the truth, getting knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, it never stops. It just keeps going. And it just keeps going. If you look at all these YouTube videos, people doing the solar weather reports on the day, keeping track of all the current events in the news. A lot of people going into forbidden books. A lot of people, some of the brothers is showing people how natural magnetism works, which people know is magic. Everybody's playing their part in position, because the thing with the elect is everyone has a different ability. And the majority of the world is not going to get it. That's why 2/3 is going to be wiped completely out, in the reset period, and it's basically, it's going to be wild, It's like, I don't see how a lot of people, they conscious, they know they're in a time of something great or something big happening, but they still can't grasp. They know something is missing, but just pay attention. It's like, eventually you're going to gravitate to all the people you need to, You're going to be subscribed to each person's channel, that you're going to get a piece of the puzzle. And that's the part of living. You have to live and learn. You learn from your mistakes, but you don't come in contact with nobody. Nothing is by coincidence. It's everybody has a piece of the puzzle, You just got to be there to graft it, You take a piece of them because they're connected to you. You're supposed to be in tune and aligned with them, whether you speak to them or know them or not, It's not funny business. You just know, because what's real you can feel, what's fake you can't relate. It correlates with you, It corresponds, and it's something in you. Remember I was telling you about plasma energy, junk DNA being removed, unlocked, because this stuff that's in you, it's going to eventually, it's going to manifest. It's going to come out. It's all going to make sense, because it's basically shaping you for your position in the right time, Everything is about, we in time, space, and matter, And everything is built off numbers, Different dates, different constellations, alignments, angles, energy, and events. And just like, yeah, it might seem chaotic in the world today, but there's no such thing as salvation without chaos. So that's where you get all them woes from. Woes meaning destruction. It means that this chaos has to happen, because, and through that chaos, there's beauty, because it exposes things, When you see these chaos and events, and before they can control the narrative, but when multiple events happen at once and it's out of their control, stargates open up, and now you can grab that information and you can read in between lines, because it's like it becomes obvious, because that's the universe, the Most High, the Great Spirit, Spirit of the Wind, Mother Nature, Anachokma, whatever you want to call it. But you just got to know where source is and where it comes from and how it works, and it's things happening around you, all around you, If you meditate and adjust your eyes a certain way, you can see every air particle and dust in the air, and you can see things. You can see ether moving all around you, energy, life. That's the breath of life. But these are other spirits and moving of conscious. When you see these orbs, all that is a conscious ball of energy moving through, and it might come into you, because what that all it's doing is going into the energy, connecting to the energy in you of your chakras, and it's basically enlightening you. You're getting your spiritual download now, but you don't see it. A lot of times you don't see it because you're blind, but it's all around you. Like, if you just open your eyes, everything's right in front of you. Things moving. A lot of stuff happens so fast that you don't even get to see it, or you just get distracted by something else. I learned how to adjust that. Basically, when you focused on something, you got to acknowledge when something is sidetracking. Why did I just jump from this point of consciousness to that point of consciousness? And why can't I just hold that thought and really go in on it? Because you have to fight against it, because it's meant you. Because that's why a lot of people don't even remember their dreams. They don't remember certain things. You have to slow things down, and you have to categorize things, and you have to, you got to basically consolidate your thoughts, puts things in its own compartment, understand the compartment and how it works, and don't let it mix and be all over the place. And, once you start to categorize things, slow it down a little bit, it'll all make sense, Well, I'm about to be out, this is just the first of what's about to really go down. It's a lot of information, but it's a lot of work I gotta do, There's a lot of stuff I be studying. I have to write it all out, taking it from this source, that source. It's like an investigation wall in my room. And when I do this, I put everything up there. Well, this origin, that origin, this name, and how it corresponds with this name, and it means this, and you categorize all of them, and then you connect the dots. Well, this sequence in this book, and that sequence in that book, and this sequence in this book, this translation, this name. Oh, this sounds similar to that name, and then you put it like an investigation on. You just sit and look like, whoa, like, yeah, that drop. But I'm out. Kudash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabaya, Salah.